Today we're going to take a drive down Zero Avenue. Zero Avenue straddles the border between Canada and the United States in western British Columbia, about as far west as you can get. In fact, a couple blocks to my west here is the Pacific Ocean. So we're just exiting Highway 99. Took this ride yesterday on my Harley for something to do, and I hadn't driven Zero Avenue for a while, so I figured I would take the camera along for a ride. We're doing this in 4K. Apologize for a bit of bouncing here. The camera is jumping up and down like crazy, and the EIS is actually doing a very good job of trying to keep the picture as shake-free as possible, as my mount decided after I left that it wanted to break. So I'm going to have to put a new mount to hold the camera in place. It's a plastic mount, and it's one side of it's worn, so the camera can actually move about 1/4 of an inch, and it gets shaken up pretty good. So we're just taking the exit off of the freeway. We're going to go around the roundabout and head over a little bit past 176th Street so we can access Zero Avenue. We're going to hang a right on 184th and head south. Note the camera on the phone pole with the transformer on it coming right up. Everybody that goes down this road, they have their picture taken. Coming and going. That's to stop the smugglers. Because as you'll see when we hit Zero Avenue, this is a smuggler's paradise. And you'll see what I mean momentarily. Well, there's the American flag. Right where that yellow sign is, that's pretty much where the border is. You'll see as I round the corner here, you should see the actual marker to indicate the border. On the left, you'll see another camera. Yes, this entire road is watched from both sides. This is a Canadian side camera. I'm sure they share the footage with the Americans too, as I'm sure the Americans share their surveillance with the Canadian authorities. But literally that ditch there is where the border is, or within a few feet of that. So basically right to the edge of the road here is Canada, and everything beyond that to the right is the United States. Now this area here that you're seeing, this is quite heavily forested. So I don't know where the roads are on the other side. I think it's probably just some farmer fields there, but a little bit further up, you'll actually see a road running right perpendicular with the road in Canada, with literally you could walk across. That's how close they are. I'm going to speed this boring stretch up a bit, but we'll go back to regular speed once I get to some of the more interesting parts of the road. But it's still a very nice drive. It's one that I take a couple times a year just because it's quite laid back. It's a nice slow pace. There's not a lot of traffic. There used to be a lot more traffic on this road, but people used to treat this road as their own personal speedway. and they've installed speed bumps further down on the road. But that still doesn't stop people, because as you will see, we are going to pass somebody who had a little bit of a lead foot and met the long arm of the law. There's another camera. There's a night vision camera there. Who met the long arm of the law in an undercover vehicle. And I'm sure he got quite the surprise when he got lit up, and I'm sure handed a hefty fine, because this is a 50 kilometer an hour section, which is 30 miles an hour on this section of the road, and the next section down is 60 clicks, which is 40 miles an hour. But people used to fly down here. I think the fastest person clocked down here at one time was doing about 140 or 150. It made the news. Somebody was rocketing down this road here at night, of all the dumb things too, because I mean there's animals out here that cross this road on a regular basis. So anyway, it's a nice drive, as I say. It's and you don't stop on this road. Stopping on this road, never a good idea. You will attract attention to yourself immediately if you stop for any reason. Just saying. Speaking of a speed demon, now I'm doing about 60 down here. I'm just putting along at 60 clicks, which is 10 over, and that guy passed me, probably doing 80. But such is life, right? The road used to go straight through, and you could actually cross the road going to the border, which is coming up just ahead here. But what resulted was people got to know that, and they would know that this border crossing wasn't quite as busy as others, so they would take 0 Avenue all the way down to this border crossing here. This is, I think they call it the Huntington crossing, because there was hardly ever a lineup, and you could jump right in front of everybody else. So they put a stop to that. They closed the road and detoured everybody around, so people wanted to take 0 Avenue to try and beat the border crossing delays back in the days when we could actually cross a border, which we haven't been able to do now for over a year. They closed the road off. So right there on the right, that's the U.S. border crossing right there. And of course, there's no cars there because the border is closed. So we're going to make a U-turn here, and we're going to go back and head back around and get back on 0 Avenue on the other side of that highway that goes across the border, and continue our trek. And 0 Avenue goes out as far as Abbotsford, and that's as far as we can go. Now we're going to have to head back towards Abbotsford. And my trip took me through Abbotsford, and then I got on the freeway and got into a traffic jam and got off the freeway and took a few other roads and got back onto the freeway again because I didn't feel like sitting in line on a hot day, on a hot engine, on a hot bike, waiting to drive. Nothing is worse. Riding a bike is great unless you got to sit in traffic. Then riding a bike becomes a real pain in the ass. There's another camera there you see right on that pole to the left. That's a night vision camera just looking straight down the border. So this is the detour that we have to take that will take us up onto, I forget the name of the highway offhand that goes across that border, but we're going to detour around and then get back onto 0 Avenue, and it's the next segment of 0 Avenue that is actually the interesting one, because you'll see roads on both sides, and we're going to see U.S. Border Patrol sitting in a field coming up, just watching for anybody that thinks they're going to try and hop the border. So it's Highway 13. That's the crossing that the highway that the border crossing is on. So we're taking the detour, take us back up to Highway 13, and then we're going to get back on 0 Avenue again and continue our trek. Under normal circumstances, there could be cars lined all the way up here waiting to cross the border and for tourists and so forth to get into the States, and others coming back the other way. But right now, as you can see, with the borders still closed due to the whole COVID pandemic, everything's closed. It's like a ghost town here. Only essential traffic getting through, and that being trucks or people that have got a reason for crossing. Hopefully, when I shot this was June 18th. It's June 19th now when I'm editing it, and fingers crossed we're going to have that border open again, because I know that lots of us are certainly chomping at the bit, wanting to be able to cross again, do business in the States, and for tourism. So hopefully it's going to open again in the next month or so. I know there's a lot of pressure for that to happen, but here we go. Road on the right, the United States. Road on the left, where I am in Canada. And literally nothing to stop someone from throwing something across the border. And I'm sure it gets done. But they watch this pretty close. It's right next to the border crossing, so there's the monument there, as you can see, right on that ditch. That's the international boundary. There's a camera on a tower on the American side, and another camera on the Canadian side on that crooked pole there, right at the corner. So they watch this area pretty close. Plus, you'll quite often see Border Patrol vehicles traversing And I would think that there's probably a few of the cars that were passing going the other way are actually Canadian border protection in undercover cars, because they patrol this road constantly. Just looking for people that are trying to take advantage of an opportunity to try and toss something across the border, especially here with the two roads. This is really highly patrolled, this area that I just went through, because of the proximity. And speaking of somebody getting busted, here's the guy I was telling you about. I bet he didn't see that one coming. Busted. They're everywhere down here. And they're all in unmarked cars. So if you're going to drive this road, it would be well advised to try to stay pretty close to the speed limit. Or you could find yourself getting a hefty fine. Just saying. So in this section of the road, you see they've got a wire fence there all the way along, and that's because people actually would drive, like right there. They'd just drive across the border. So they put a cable fence along there to prevent that from happening. Back to 8th Avenue, and as you can see, it's gridlock into Abbotsford. So I'm going to head back the other way because I don't want to sit for an hour in traffic. So we're going to start making our way back. I'm going to head over to Highway 401. We'll do a little tour through Abbotsford first. But Gonna head back to 401 and then fly back home. Take the 401 and then Highway 17. And we'll let this play out here for a bit in high-speed mode. And give you guys a look at the Trans-Canada. There's the Abbotsford Airport. So this will take us right into the city of Abbotsford, home of the Abbotsford International Airport, where I've shot a couple of air shows over the last 30 or so years. We're going to have one this year too, but you're going to get your own little space this year because the whole COVID thing. They're going to have an air show this year, but you'll get a designated area and you can park in your car and sit right by your car and look up and watch all the planes go by. It could be interesting. In case you guys are wondering, all this footage was shot with an Akeso Brave 7 action camera, just mounted to my fairing. It is shaking like crazy, but the stabilization on this camera is just amazing, and it has now become my go-to camera to shoot videos from the bike. And I'm sure I'll use it for some videos in the car too, if I decide to take a road trip this summer. And we'll do some shooting from the car using this camera because the picture quality of it is first rate. Oh crap. Traffic jam. Time to get off the freeway and just wait this out a bit. Okay, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again real soon. Bye for now.